Welcome to the world of probiotic foods. This is Cultured Food Life with your host, Donna Schwenk.
Welcome, everybody, and thanks for tuning in today and taking a little time out of your day to listen to my podcast. And I hope that it will inspire you and encourage you and help you to lead a healthier life. And today I want to talk about something that's kind of a personal topic for me, one I've been working on for over 40 years. I've read thousands of books that have been stacked by my bed. Thank goodness for Kindle, because my room is much roomier now, although I still do really like books, hardback books. But I've been trying to figure out things just for a very long time. And, you can try a gazillion diets out there. There's millions of them. And I mean, it's funny because I've lived long enough now to see trends come and go and things come in and out, and they kind of revamp a diet from a long time ago and give it a new name, and it's very similar to what it was. And what I discovered was what worked for another didn't always work for me, no matter how many books I read about it, how much information there was and how much buzz there was about it. And I wanted to know why. I wanted to know why there were so many different things for so many different people, because it kind of drove me insane. And really, because I just read everything all the time. It was really good for me, though, because I spent a lot of years learning different things, understanding what worked for me and what didn't. And, and then, of course, there's the media. Don't eat this, it'll kill you. And then a few years later, that food is a superfood. That happens all the time. And, it drove me crazy trying to figure out what to believe, what not to believe, who to believe, who not to believe. And, I finally stopped at one point, stopped reading all those books. And I still liked learning. And, this is the day and age of information. So if you want information, you can get it. It's out there. It's at your fingertips. And it used to not be that way. But then you can go a little nuts trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And I remember it was, maybe 20 years ago or 18 years ago, I put myself on this regimen that I had found that really worked for me. I was running, I was eating a certain way, and I had lost a bunch of weight. I was really knowledgeable about the body. This is before I found Cultured Foods. And it worked, but some stuff was missing because I noticed my blood work didn't look so great, and there were other problems. And I think that was the day and age when I was doing the low fat. And I was doing a lot of running, which I really enjoyed. And then just when I thought I had it figured out, I got pregnant. And then I got really, really sick. And I wound up with a sick baby, and my body was spiraling downward. And I got really scared. My baby was only 4 pounds. She was delivered early to save my life, and I was just a complete wreck. And I was doing everything I could to get this baby to gain weight, and that meant feeding her every 2 hours, and it took like an hour to feed her 2 ounces of milk. I did this around the clock for weeks, months, obsessing about her, was she gaining weight? Was she getting healthy? And it was so hard on me because I was so worried about her, and it left very little time for me to sleep and very little time for me to do anything but to feed her. And everything I had learned about food, which I thought I knew, went out the window. And I started reaching for convenience because I was just tired. I got really sick, and things were getting worse because I was getting less sleep. And things were getting worse. And in desperation, I just literally cried out for help one day. And I kind of gave up. I was lost. Nothing was working that had worked before. And I prayed for help. And I can remember, I can remember this so vividly. I would walk around my house and repeat this phrase over and over several times a day, like my life depended on it. And I would say to myself, it's okay. I will find the answers. I wasn't meant to live this way. Help is on the way. It's coming. It's coming. And I said it over and over and over again. And then lo and behold, a few weeks later, it was about 3 weeks later, I found Cultured Foods. And my whole entire life completely turned around. And I took a few steps that really led me there, I believe. I surrendered and I trusted. And it was really important for me to let go of a lot of the false premises I had made because none of them were working. So I really just had to trust that my prayers were heard and that my cries for help were being answered, and I was loved, and nothing was going to be held back from me, and that it was going to come. This was just temporary. And I affirmed the answers were there for me no matter how bleak it looked, and many times it looked really bad. And the more I said it, the more I believed it. And then the greatest discovery of my life literally dropped into my lap. And cultured foods and those little microbes that transformed my food in a jar on my counter with trillions and billions of probiotics started to transform my life. And I started a whole new journey, a whole new chapter in my life, and every aspect of my life changed. You know, I love the quote from Marianne Williamson that says, "You must master a new way to think before you can master a new way to be." And I know that for a fact. When you want to change something in your life, a lot of times people will change the actions first, but you kind of got to change your mindset first. That's the place to start, and then the other things will follow. One of the other step that I took was I had to act on what was given to me. After I started to repeat that phrase over and over again, it really started to wire and fire in my brain. Our brains are these like computer programs. Then you have a neural network for every person in your life, for everything in your life. I mean, think about it. When you go drive your car, you don't think about, I'm going to put my foot on the gas and I'm going to put my foot on the brake, because you've got a program running that's showing you how to do that. It's there. So what I realized was that in my life, when I was in fear, when I was in survival mode, when I was scared, I had a program running that made things worse for me, that made me more scared and more afraid. And my brain started looking for ways to protect me, but it was just creating more fear. So I had to rewire my brain to look for hope, to look for help, to start to see possibilities. And that was a very important thing for me. And once I got that down, I started to act on what was given to me. I started to change my actions. And if you're given guidance, and perhaps this is why you're listening to this broadcast, you need to act on what you're given, and you'll get more of what you need. And then the more you act and the more your brain fires and wires, it'll find more possibilities. It's just like when you buy a new car and all of a sudden you see that car everywhere. Your brain does the same thing for when you're trying to get healthy, for when you're trying to overcome something. It will start helping you find the answers as long as you start to train yourself to look for the answers. If you're feeling bad all the time, and if you get up every day and you look for your pain, or you look for your sickness or your disease, you're going to find it, because your brain is going to wire itself to find that for you. But if you look for hope, you look for answers, and you trust that they're coming, you'll get more of that. So for me, that was such a revelation when I found cultured foods. I mean, it was just food, and little did I know how much it was going to change my life. And the first thing I did was I started drinking kefir, and that mostly came in the form of a smoothie. And it was simple. It took me less than 5 minutes to make. I threw a cup of kefir in a smoothie. I threw some fruit in a smoothie, and perhaps I think I used stevia, or sometimes the fruit was sweet enough I didn't need to add anything. And that's what I did every day. And actually, I still do that a lot. I still do that to this day. It's been 17 years. I'm still doing that. I tend to make smoothie bowls now, which I like better and which are thicker. And so I add a little bit more fruit. I even add some veggies in there that you can't really taste that really make it thick and creamy. And that was my breakfast, and is my breakfast every day. And it really began to change me. And then, much to my surprise, it began to change my family. And it also made me want to learn more about these cultured foods because I felt better. And then in turn, it started to change my whole diet as a whole, because the better I felt, the better I wanted to eat. But it was critical because it changed the bacteria in my gut. And because it changed the bacteria in my gut. So for instance, like if you eat a lot of processed and sugary foods, you're going to have microbes in your gut. They're going to crave those things and they're going to make, signals to your brain to make you want to eat more of them. Well, when I changed, I started drinking kefir every day. I started changing that flora in my gut, which made me crave different foods. And I see this in my family today. If I eat certain foods, I start to crave them because the bacteria in my gut changes and makes more of them. And, it's just a chemical response in your body. Your body is this pharmaceutical factory, and it's also a factory of, it controls a lot of what you do. And I've done a podcast on this, and it's amazing. And I'm telling you, it works. If you change what you eat, if you change what you think, your body will assist you and make you crave foods that your body loves. And when your body craves food that loves you back, everything starts to change. You start to feel better. I had my moods changed, my behaviors changed. It was such a cool thing to see because I really didn't understand how much what I was eating was controlling my moods and behaviors as well as just what I craved. And, to this day, I've gotten so sensitive to my body. I get immediate responses back from what I'm eating. If my body likes it or if my body doesn't like it, I can tell right away. And, one thing that I have learned, and I know this is so simple, but we do it all the time. Don't eat foods that you know are bad for you because you're not going to get a good results. And it took me years to learn this because those cravings for those foods would overcome me and I would eat them and then I would feel bad. And I'm like, why did I do that? But a lot of it was because the microbes in my gut were craving those foods because I had been eating those foods. And so if you can just buckle down for a couple of days, 2 to 3 days, your microbes are going to shift and you're not going to crave those things anymore. If you eliminate them and you start eating other foods, then your body will shift and you'll start craving foods that love you bad. If you eat foods that, when I say healthy foods, I'm talking about healthy foods like prebiotic foods, which are, greens and fruits, nuts and seeds, lots of healthy prebiotics that some of the highest prebiotics that feed the microbes in your gut are leeks, artichokes, jicama. Those are some of the strongest, and they can change your gut flora in literally one meal because they have so many prebiotics in them. Berries are strong, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, all of those things are very strong prebiotics. Even there are even foods like nuts and seeds have them. There are whole grains that have them. Even honey has some prebiotics in it that really changes your gut flora. And something happens when you start to do this because now you've got your mind and your body working together. And when you do that, just you wait. That's when the magic really starts to happen. Something really happens after you surrender and trust and start to believe that you can change your life. And then evidence starts showing up in your life, help starts showing up in your life. But then something else happens. People in your life may start to put up resistance when they see you change. And that happened to me. Social behavior is a huge influence by what you eat and what you do because you are very much affected by what everybody around you is doing. Most everybody on the planet knows that, eating more salads and more greens is good for you, but they don't do it. Not everybody does it. Even though they know it, because they think that eating healthy is hard and expensive, and that is really a lie. It's not true. And if you don't believe me, for instance, eating a banana is just as easy as eating a bag of potato chips. But the thing about it is, like, if you're not going to eat a whole bag of apples, you're just not going to do it. But you'll eat a whole bag of chips if you're really stressed out, hungry, and want it. You can eat a lot of cereal, but you will not eat a whole 2 heads of broccoli. It's not going to happen. Your body will stop you. It will be full. It's so nutrient dense, you're just not going to want it. And so it really is about choices, and our bodies and our brains, this dopamine in our brain will pound on you to get you to eat these foods that give you a rush of dopamine in your brain. And they're going to make you crave them the more you eat them. And then when you don't have them, it's going to bug you. Now, The cool thing about it is eventually that quiets down when you stop feeding it. So not only does your gut flora change, but your brain changes, and it does quiet down, and it stops bugging you for these treats and rewards all the time, as long as you don't feed it. But since, everybody thinks that eating healthy is hard, nobody wants to do it. If it was the cultural norm to eat food, real healthy food, you wouldn't even give it a second thought. If everybody around you was doing that, you would do it too. That would be the norm. And you see that in certain countries. People just, they eat really healthy, but everybody does it. So it's the norm. So everybody's doing it. And now, because here convenience is king, in my neck of the woods, people want to have convenience because they're tired, they're worn out. But I remember listening to this podcast one time. It wasn't a podcast. I think it was just a YouTube. And this guy was trying to help his younger brother, who was a lot younger than him. He was in his 20s, and his younger brother was 13. And he was trying to help his brother lose weight, be healthy. And so I guess this guy broke his leg and he had to go move it back into his house with his brother. And so he decided he was going to make all these meals for his younger brother. And he wasn't going to give him the choice to eat something different. He was just going to have it for him. And lo and behold, his brother just started eating all this food and everything changed, lost weight, got healthy because he just wasn't given a choice. And, it was so interesting. And that's kind of what we have to do. We kind of have to throw it out there that this is what we're going to do. And you kind of got to hold steady for a little while. And then eventually it becomes the norm. It becomes natural and normal for you. And if you change, the people around you and your family will start to change too. And then you'll change a portion of the universe just by changing yourself, because this is a natural side effect. I see this all the time. Now, some people are going to resist you for a while. Just ignore it. Don't even worry about it. Don't try to convince them. Just let it be. You just change you, and eventually they will come. I have seen that over and over and over again. And people thought I was crazy when I started eating cultured foods. They thought I had a food called. They thought I was a wackadoo. But I'm telling you, all of those people and the people that were the hardest on me came to me and now are some of my biggest advocates, because they really needed this help more than anybody else. And they have had dramatic changes in their life. So it's true. You just wait and see. It's inevitable that changing yourself changes those around you. And, at first they're going to fight you. They're going to maybe criticize you, tempt you. But if you stand firm, and as Gandhi says, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. And that, my friend, has happened to me many, many times. And even my own family fought me. But eventually they all succumbed. I used to tell my husband resistance was futile. It was over for him. He could resist it for a while, but it was just, now he's I watched him this morning. He had his little cup of kefir running out the door as fast as he could. And it's fast food for him. It's so easy for him. And I think he had, it was a cup of kefir and a banana. It was cracking me up. And he had the banana in his mouth. I said, "You didn't put it in the kefir?" He goes, "No, I didn't have time." But it does. And on the days that he doesn't have kefir, he gets super hungry and wants to eat just anything. And so he's learned that when this nutrient-dense food that is just so simple and easy to drink and make really gives him so many nutrients that his body needs, that it curbs his cravings and makes him feel more nourished. And it helps everything that he eats with it. He absorbs more nutrients from the foods he eats with it. So if you want to change, you just got to change you. You just got to forget about everybody else, because you're the magic. Because you have been given the desire to change. And it wouldn't be there, and it wouldn't be calling you if something wasn't encouraging you and helping you to go in the direction that you really want. So your body is going to help you do this. This is the way it's designed. It's kind of cool how the body does this. It's all set up with the right equipment, but you are the commander. You have to give it the ingredients or food it needs. And then just watch. It's going to make you shine. And you're going to feel so good. You're going to drive everybody else in your life crazy. And they're going to wonder what happened to you. And when somebody's light starts to shine because they feel good, you can just tell they look good. Everybody wants to know what they did. And your bacteria, if you eat these cultured foods, is going to make you crave good foods. And your mind will seek out wellness like Sherlock Holmes, and you'll be on your way to a whole new life like never before. And it makes life fun. It makes life an adventure. And guys, food is so important. We have a contract with food in this life. And it's how you stay alive. It creates the cells of your body. And it's so important for us to pay attention to what we put in our mouth. And you want to get the most bang for your buck. And you want to work with not just your food, but with your trillions of unseen helpers who live inside of you. And what's exciting to me is that it's just as simple as changing a few things that you eat. So if you're telling yourself that healthy eating is not fun and that unhealthy food is more fun and you feel punished when you don't have those things, you're going to sabotage yourself. And you're not emphasizing the joy of how wonderful it feels to be healthy. I'm telling you guys, nothing feels better than feeling like you have set yourself free from all your obsessions and compulsions, and you feel healthy and your body looks great and you shine. And, I see people do this. I see people like knock themselves out drinking and partying. And yeah, it's fun to party, I guess, but it makes you feel so horrible. And in the end, is it really worth it? It's just something you're telling yourself that it's fun. I used to complain if I, ate too much or ate something that made me feel bad. And it was this constant struggle to deal with the fact that these foods made me feel like garbage, and yet I still wanted to eat them. So I had to change my mind. And once I started breaking these habits and I changed the bacteria in my gut and I made a conscious effort to change my habits, then healthy became not a punishment anymore. Because I felt so good. I never wanted to go back to the life that I had. That was the reason I kept eating cultured foods, because when I didn't eat them, blood pressure went up. I started to feel achy. I started to feel tired. My joints started to hurt when I didn't have kombucha. And I was like, I don't want that life anymore. And so when I realized that eating these foods made me feel great, I wanted to keep feeling that way. So I kept eating them. And it was like having a trainer, because it was like, it rewired me. It rewired my gut. It rewired my brain. It rewired my actions. But I was the one who had to make the decision. I was the one who had to use my will to say, okay, we're not doing this anymore. And to just trust and surrender, and to train my mind to look for answers and eat the foods that would help me find wellness. So my brain and body and heart all started working together. We mostly believe what we see, but aren't you glad we get to choose what we believe? And this applies to our body and our contract that we've made with food in this life. So align your beliefs with actions. And guys, your life gets so sweet. When you get new beliefs about food and you teach your body how to be well, everything gets better and you shine. And not only does it change you, but it changes those around you. We need people to lead the way, because people are so sick and struggling so badly. And 90% of people that, struggle with how they feel, they need to take a look at what they eat. Their body is made up from the foods that they eat. And it's not as hard as you think. It just takes a little bit of training and effort, and then you're on your way. I love these foods, guys, because they taught me who I really was. These cultured foods that are filled with probiotics, that are living organisms that live inside of me and take care of me, changed everything for me. And when I felt good, I wanted to do good. And that is what has led me here. I don't have the answers for everybody. I think you have the answers more than I do, but this is just what I did. And it was just really a few simple things that really changed everything for me. And I hope it will help you. I hope it will encourage you and inspire you. because you deserve to feel good. You deserve to have a journey in this life that's fun and creative. And just you wait and see. When you start feeling good, it changes everything. And you're going to change so many other people too. But today, if you need some extra help, if you want to get started making these foods, head on over to my website at culturedfoodlife.com. Guys, everything on there is that you need to get started is free. I do that on purpose. I have videos. I have books. I have massive amounts of blogs and recipes. And I do that all so you can find it easily. And if you go to my website, go to the Start Here button on the menu bar, and you'll see a little smiley pot. And you'll have a drop-down menu, and you can pick something that you're interested in. Say you're attracted to kefir, or say you're attracted to kombucha, or cultured vegetables, or water kefir, or sourdough, or whatever it is. Pick the thing that most interests you. And you can click on the start. It says Start Here. It tells you about it. Just take one thing, just one, and try it and master it. And then go to the next. I mean, it's all there free for you. I have other stuff too I have a membership site that has even more, but just do the basics on my Start Here page because it's all there for you. It's easy. I've worked really hard to make the site look nice. And I have a great guy that helps me, Chris. He's my web manager, and he's responsible for how beautiful it looks. He's taught me all kinds of ways He's made me all kinds of features that I try to design everything to make it easy to read. I have podcasts with so many of my articles. So if you don't want to read it, you can listen. And we've got videos. I mean, I keep adding stuff all the time because I don't want you to go through life feeling sick and depressed because I know what that feels like, guys. It's awful. I was so discouraged. I used to lay on the couch and cry because I didn't know how to change my life. And I would watch other people change their lives. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? And I'm so grateful that I got sick because I found my way out. And I believe the answers are there for everybody, not just me, but for everybody. And that's what my site and everything I do is about. So head on over there if you need help. We answer our emails. We try to help people. We have a staff of people that try to help everybody. And that's just what we do. And it is a pleasure to help you because when everybody feels good, they do good. And I hope that you can find your way in this crazy world with just a few simple things. Change what you eat, change what you think, and let your actions take you to a whole new journey and a whole new life. Thanks, guys, for listening. And we will see you next week. And don't forget, you are beautifully and wonderfully made, and you deserve a wonderful life. Have a good one.